Proud Boys Not Proud terrorizing Nevada drag queen story hour. Recently, a drag queen story hour at a library in Sparks, Nevada, was the site of a protest by the right-wing militia group, the Proud Boys. Wearing the militia's colors of yellow and black, the group carried placards that read, quote, "Stop sexualizing children. Shame on you for trading your kids just to look woke. Woke is broke." And quote. Police received a call at 11:30 a.m. from someone claiming they were assaulted, but that person did not file a charge, so there is no information available. A short while later, police were called again and told someone had entered the library with a firearm. A spokesperson for the department said, quote, "Sparks police arrived on scene and contacted the reporting person. The reporting person stated the subject with the gun had left prior to the officer's arrival," end quote. Officers determined the gun owner held the weapon lawfully and did not threaten anyone. Nevada does not prohibit open carry, so officers took no action, the statement said.
Gun okay in library.
Yes, it's okay.
Exposed.
In Nevada. A lot of things we can do in certain.
And here, open carry here, don't have to have a permit. The guns at the, I know this, we weren't talking about guns, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now. The guns that he used in Highland Park, they were legally bought. There was nothing black market about it. He had the right to them.
Exactly.
He had the rights to them.
That's what happens with a lot of these shootings,
Right.
that the person has a legal right to buy these guns, but then when you look at their past history and everything else, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have given this person a gun.
Yeah.
But they bought it legally because we don't have any actual, I'm sorry, I'm not
And
going to
these, and these people, these Proud Boys, they've taken over the Miami-Dade Republican Party. That's not a hyperbole. That's not an exaggeration. No, they have taken over. They have positions of power running the largest counties in Florida, essentially, the Republican Party. They've just taken over. And what they're going to do is they're going to intimidate. They're not going to be there. They're not going to be threatening anybody. They're just going to stand there with their ARs over their shoulders. They're going to intimidate. They're going to menace. And then when they finally feel emboldened enough, they're going to open fire. And that's where it is. And Miami-Dade, this is just one idiot away from happening here.
And then there's going to be the whole, I'm standing my ground. That's all
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Florida,
I am
right,
protecting
Florida.
myself in the state of Florida. And it's not just going to be a queer person. It's going to be people of color. It's going to be women. It's going to be anyone who
Jewish
disagrees with
people.
that
I
thing.
want to
Jewish people.
explore the observation just made. So Kitty Meow, connected with Hotspots and Happening on Television Network. Our house does an outstanding job in LGBTQ community in Wynwood, and they basically felt an open threat from Proud Boys, and police are called. Your concern is that the Proud Boys will try to intimidate at a location like that, maybe standing on the street, open carry of their rifle, and that's going to lead to some kind of tragic consequence.
Yes.
Just showing up with a gun is a threat.
Yes.
Just showing up and exposing yourself with a gun is an act of aggression. Chekhov said, I think it was Chekhov, said that if you have a gun in the first scene, it's got to go off by the end of the play. You're showing up with a gun, you're there with the intention to use it.
But it's too bad that the whiny
Agreed.
babies can't make better use of their time. Maybe like a Tony home vasectomy or something. Just,
Like a
they
Tony
just
Home perm?
stay, yeah, exactly.
You know, I want to zero in on the issue specifically with drag queens. What is going on with using drag queens as an illustration that we're sexualizing our children? Why? What is going on?
Here's where
I
we
understand
get
why
into-
they're doing it. I'm not asking the why, because I know why. Money, power to the base. That's why.
That part.
But how are they creating this narrative that children are being sexualized by the presence
got
of a
you.
drag queen? Okay, well, explain
you,
it to
though.
me.
Youth Advocate is going to answer this one. No, end of the day has nothing to do with sexualizing children, because that is one thing that I was always stand behind is stop sexualizing children. It has nothing to do with your sexual orientation, your gender identity. That is outside of it. They're villainizing it, number one. And number two, it goes back to the whole villainizing part of it, where it's, okay, we're saying stop sexualizing these children. All they're doing is seeing another way that they can live, another way that they can express themselves. And then that becomes a threat. So end of the day, what we're seeing is that drag queens, drag kings, they're becoming a threat to how it is that we see people identifying, that we see people expressing themselves. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, on Discovery Channel, there's actually a new show about kids who are doing drag, which I think is the cutest thing. I've even taken my niece to a drag show. She wasn't even 2 yet. But you know what? All she saw was people having a good time and they were singing. She didn't understand it because of her age, but that's not sexualizing. That's just showing an entertainer. And that's where it stops, is we're entertaining, much like somebody who's on a screen or dribbling a ball, throwing a ball, however you want to put it. We're entertaining, but because we're different than what the conservative folks are trying to say, that makes us a threat because we're showing another way of living life.
So they're actually sexualizing just as much as they're accusing us of
Yes.
sexualizing.
Yes.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're saying, we don't appreciate the way you're doing it because we don't understand it and we're afraid of it and it's wrong. So we want to make sure that the way we sexualize someone is the dominant way.
There-
And when it comes when it
Right.
comes to drawing the line, it's very easy because it's a man, but they're in women's clothes. So it's without saying it, it's enough to put it into people's minds. Oh, something's just not right. And then there's in the back of the mind, even if you like drag queens, even if you've been to a show before, like, oh, it was pretty bawdy. I wouldn't want a child shouldn't see that. A child shouldn't see that. It's one of those things that all you have to do is suggest it, and people's minds start to go there. Never mind the fact that you could have an 8 o'clock comedy show with a comedian, and then he does the adult comedy show at 10 o'clock later that night, which happens in a lot of clubs. Yes, the children should not be at the 10 o'clock drag show, but if they're at the Storytime drag show, all it is someone wearing an outfit that's not conventional to their gender. But other than that,
Mrs.
there's nothing.
Doubtfire.
What?
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Yes,
It is.
exactly.
You know, it's interesting to me, and we've got to move on, but if your supposition is correct, and it sounds correct to me, it is just another way, just like Don't Say Gay, that in our fear, we want to make you invisible. We're okay with you as long as you're invisible. We just don't want to know about you. It's not that we hate you, maybe they do, but it's not that we're trying to end you. We just don't want anyone to recognize you exist. That's exactly what Don't Say Gay is all about. And second, to your point, this conversation is as good as I've heard. This is internalized homophobia. Period. The end. It is internalized homophobia because I always use the standard, okay, if we took your observation and completely turned it on its side in reverse, what would happen? Well, what's the difference in bringing children to Hooters? And at Hooters, which is a platform which is completely designed to be sexualized,
Yes.
you can bring your 6, 8, 10-year-old boy into Hooters and participate in the different kinds of shows or birthday celebrations or whatever it might be at Hooters, and that's completely fine.
Or
That
even on the other
means
side, show that your little girl, she can see a girl being sexualized, and that's okay.
and that's okay.
Right. Something to
That
it, yeah.
means this is internalized homophobia, to your point. It is a man in a dress, and that in and of itself is bad, which should be invisible. I really think we got to the issue of what's going on about drag queens. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.